So, you just finished building your Voron 2.4 from a kit. Every bolt is torqued, every belt is tensioned, the wiring is tucked away, and you're ready to print your first part. And then, it looks like garbage. That's normal. A freshly built Voron isn't a tuned Voron. The kit gets you a machine that can print well, it doesn't get you a machine that does print very well yet. That's a new. And that's what today's video is gonna be about. We're going in 3 stages. First the printer itself, the mechanical and firmware side, then the filament, because tuning is filament specific, and finally the slicer where we lock in the profiles so you never have to do this again for that material. Let's get started. First thing, every time before anything else, level the bed. On a 2.4 this means getting your gantry parallel to the bed and getting consistent nozzle to bed distance across all 4 corners of the bed. But if you got a printer with bed screws, use a paper and feeler gauge leveling first, then let the Klipper's bed mesh do its work afterwards. Don't skip this because the mesh will fix it. Bed mesh compensates for minor variation. If one corner is a full millimeter off, you're asking software to fix a harder problem, and it will fight you the whole way. Get it closed by hand first. Once the bed's level, dial in your Z offset, the exact distance between your nozzle and the bed at the point where your probe triggers. If you use Klipper, you can use probe calibrate command to get in that value in the correct range first. Print a first layer test pattern. You're looking for that first layer to squish just slightly. You should be able to see individual lines, but they should not be pressed together with a tiny lip on the edges. No gaps, no over squish, where it looks smeared and translucent. Too high and the layer doesn't stick. You'll get grabs between the lines. Too low, you'll get elephant's foot, the nozzle dragging the plastic instead of laying it down. This is trial and error, but it's fast. 5 minutes of adjusting in 0.02mm to 0.5mm increments will get you there. Next, extruder step, or E-steps. This tells the firmware exactly how much filament is actually moving for a given command, which matters enormously on a kit build because gearing, hopped gear bite, and even how tightly you clamped your extruder can all throw this value off. Mark your filament 120mm above the extruder N3, command a 100mm extrusion, then measure what's left. If it's not exactly 20mm remaining, do the math and adjust the rotation distance in Klipper. This one is boring, but it affects literally everything downstream. Pressure advance, flow, retraction, so don't skip it. Now PID tuning, for both hot and bad. This stabilizes your temperature instead of letting them oscillate around your target. Run PID calibrate for your hotted at a temp that you'll actually print at, say 240 for ABS, 210 for PLA, and separately do it for your bed. Save config and you're done. It takes maybe 5 minutes total and the payoff is temperature stability, which directly affects layer adhesion and surface finish. This is one of the best things about building a Voron with Klipper, input shaping. If your kit came with an ADXL accelerometer mounted on your tool head, run the resonance test on both X and Y axes, and let Klipper calculate the best shaper values automatically. In case of a Formbot kit, the SB2209 toolhead PCB has the accelerometer built in, so you don't need to mount it. What this fixes is ringing, those rippled echoes you see near sharp corners on a print caused by the toolhead vibrating after a fast direction change. Input shaping lets you push speeds and accelerations way higher without the print quality falling apart. If you've seen Voron owners bragging about their print speeds, this is the big reason why it's possible. Last mechanical step. Axis skew. Even a well-built CoreXY gantry can end up very slightly out of square, off by a fraction of a degree. You won't notice it around your objects, but print a calibration and measure diagonals with calipers. And you might find your prints are subtly skewed instead of perfectly square. Klipper has a built-in skew profile correction. Run the calibration print, plug in your measurements, and it compensates for software. This is a set it and forget it step for most builds. Today's video sponsor is PCBWay. If you build things, PCBWay is worth knowing about. They do PCB fabrication, CNC machining, 3D printing, and sheet metal all under one roof, with fast turnaround time and competitive pricing. And if you're new to this and not sure what to order, PCBWay has a shared project section where the community posts open source designs that you can order directly. It's a great way to get your first part made without needing to design anything from scratch. I've used them for my own projects and the quality was amazing. If you're a new user, you will also get a $5 discount on your first order. Make sure to check them out. Links in the description. Now let's get back to the video. Now here's the mindset shift. Everything in part 1 you do once per printer. Everything in part 2 you do once per filament, or at least once per filament brand or material type. Different spools behave differently, even in the same color from same brand sometimes. Before any of this, dry your filament. Nylon and PETG are obvious offenders, but PLA absorbs enough moisture over time to cause stringing, popping sounds during printing, and rougher surface finish. If your filament's been sitting around, give it a few hours in the dryer before you start tuning anything else. Tuning wet filament is tuning a moving target. Print a temperature tower, a model that changes hot end temperatures every few layers. Look at how each section for stringing, layer adhesion, gloss, and overhang quality. The best looking band is your target print temperature for that spool. This matters more than people think. The recommended temp on the spool label is actually a suggestion, not a rule. Your actual number can be 10 or 15 degrees off from that. Pressure Advance controls how the extruder anticipates pressure changes at corners and direction changes, so you don't get blobbing or bulging when the nozzle slows down. Klipper has a built-in test for this. Print in, find the value where the lines are most consistent with no bulges and no gap. This one is genuinely visible, obvious effects once you dialed it in. Print a simple flat testers. Look at the actual top layers and check if there's gaps or bulging plastics. Pick the best one and adjust your flow percentage until it's perfect. This corrects for small real-world variances in filament diameter and extrusion consistency. Related but different. This tests your maximum flow rate, meaning how much filament your hot end can actually melt and push per second before you start seeing gaps in under extrusion. This tells you the print speed ceiling for that filament and nozzle combo, which is especially relevant for a 2.4 since people love pushing these fast. Last one, retraction. Print a retraction tower that varies the traction differences and look for the point where stringing between towers disappears without over-retracting, which can cause clogs or grinding on a Bowden style or even direct drive setup. Actually, really quick before I go further, only 1% of the people watching my videos are actually subscribed. So if you're watching this and you're not subscribed and you're enjoying the content, just hit the subscribe button. It's free, it takes half a second, and it means YouTube actually shows you the next videos. Okay, back to it. Once you've got your numbers from part 1 and part 2, save them. Don't just change settings for each print, build a profile for your slicer for each filament in each use case. A fast draft PLA profile and a strong functional PETG profile are going to have very different settings, and rebuilding this every time you print is how tuning knowledge gets lost. Small setting, real impact. Old printing order. Most slicers default to inner wall then outer wall, but switching to outer wall can actually improve your dimensional accuracy and surface finish on the outer wall, since it's laid down before any pressure changes from the inner walls affected. Test both on your setup. The better order can slightly depend on your setup and pressure advance tuning. Finally, Z-hop. Lifting the nozzle slightly during travel moves so it doesn't drag along already printed surfaces. On a Voron with that fast, well-tuned CoreXY gantry, you often don't need as much. A small hop, or even none at all if you dialed in retraction and travel speeds perfectly, because excessive Z-hop adds print time and it can introduce its own artifacts. Test with it on, and use just enough to stop visible dragging on top surfaces without adding unnecessary motion. And that's the full loop. Mechanical tuning on the printer itself, calibration on the specific filament you're running, and slicer profiles that lock in all the knowledge in so you're not starting from scratch every print. The honest truth about a kit-built Voron 2.4 is that the hardware is capable of excellent prints on day one, but the tuning is what actually gets you there. Every step in this video takes about 5 to 15 minutes, and once it's done for a given filament, you're done. Just load that profile and print. If this helped, make sure to like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.